We talked about adding integers, so today we're going to talk about subtracting integers. But remember, when it says add and subtract, really we are just combining. We talked about just because it says plus doesn't mean we are actually going to add. So when we subtract an integer, we have a couple of different things we can do. If we want it to look like an addition, like what we had here and here, then we simply need to add the opposite, meaning we're going to put a plus sign in the middle and change the sign of the second number. So I want to show you this. So here I have, remember our circle, this is a positive 12 and a negative 7. So it says 12 minus a negative 7. But remember, minus, subtract, negative, they all mean the same thing. They are synonyms. We can rewrite this, add the opposite. So 12, we're going to add, this becomes a plus. The opposite of negative 7 is a positive 7. So now it looks like an elementary problem, and it is 19. The other method that you can use for this, and that's on our card that we put in our journal yesterday, is right here. This is what we call a double negative. Two minus signs right next to each other. I want you to notice that this is not a double negative. They're not next to each other. There's a number in between. But when they're right next to each other, this is a double negative. And one of the things that is on our card, double negatives become a positive. So another way to write this, if I rewrote 12 minus a negative 7, is I could go through and I could circle my double negative. Double negatives become a positive. Two sticks make a plus. So I can put these together to make a plus sign. And now it still looks like 12 plus 7. So you can do either method that works for you. So here we can look. We have a negative 9 and a negative 4. If we want to rewrite it, negative 9 plus a negative 4, we can put a plus sign in the middle. And now it looks like what we had yesterday. Well, we said yesterday, if they're the same, we're going to add and keep the sign. So 9 plus 4 is 13, and we have negative. So this is saying I owe mom $9 and I owe dad $4, so I owe my parents $13. Okay? If you don't want to put the plus in the middle, you can simply realize these are the same signs. So what do? We add and keep this sign, just like we talked about yesterday. And on your card that you put in your journal right here, same signs, add and keep the sign. Let's look at another example. So we can, those were examples of the signs being the same, because when we made this a double negative, they became positive. Right here we have another double negative, right next to each other. Double negative becomes a positive. So now I can even rewrite this as negative 15 plus 3. So now I can do my circles. I have a negative 15. I have a positive 3. So I need to ask myself, are the signs the same or different? So these signs are different. And if I was unsure what to do, I would go to my card right here, different signs. We're going to subtract the numbers. 15 minus 3 is 12. And keep the larger sign. What do I have more of? I have more negatives. So now my answer is negative 12. So because they were different, we subtracted. And we kept the larger sign. Okay. Here, I have another example I can circle. 7, this is a positive 7. The sign in front of the 10 is a negative. So these signs are different. So remember, when they're different, I already wrote it up here, so I'm not going to write it again. We're going to subtract our numbers. 10 minus 7 is 3. And in this case, I have more negatives. So let's recap. Essentially the same rules as on our card, but we're going to write them so that we remember them. In summary, if the signs are the same, we're going to add and keep the sign. Okay, because if the signs are the same, like up here, then it's still going to stay a negative. If they're both positive, it's going to stay a positive. Second rule, if the signs are different, then we're going to subtract our numbers and keep the sign with the largest value. So right here, we had more. 10 is bigger than 7, so we have more negatives. 15 is bigger than 3, so we have more negatives. You're going to do some practice in class with this. This is sometimes a difficult topic, so you need to take your time and make sure you are circling and asking yourself these questions. Are my signs the same? If they are, like up here, what do I do? What sign do I have? If they're different, what do I do? What sign do I have? You have to ask yourself those questions over and over and over. This little card I gave you should be in the front of your journal. That way we don't have to search for it. You know it's in the front, so you can just flip right there and be like, oh, there are my notes. Okay? We will also later on, when we get into geometry, put our formula chart here. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow.